Fellow Nigerians, let's have some frank talk. I'm here today not as a finance expert, but as somebody like you who understands the intricate dance between our aspirations and our reality. Many of us are intimately familiar with the term black tax, but if you do not know, it refers to the unspoken, often significant financial contributions we make to extended family and friends. It's rooted in our communal values and our deep sense of responsibility to uplift those around us. Let's be clear, black tax is not all that bad. It's a powerful, informal social safety net. It puts food on the tables, sends siblings to schools, and supports elderly parents, where formal systems fall short. It strengthens family bonds and fuels collective upward mobility. I've seen firsthand how one person's sacrifice can elevate an entire lineage. But we cannot ignore the demerits. The immense financial burden stifles personal wealth creation, limits savings, delays investment, and traps individuals in a cycle of earning to give rather than to build. This continuous outflow can hinder young Africans from building generational wealth for their own immediate families. So here's my proposal. I'm calling on our tax authorities to recognize black tax as a tax-deductible benefit. We can do this by 1, creating a clear definition of black tax or financial support. 2, identifying eligible beneficiaries. And 3, specifying the qualified type of support and setting eligibility criteria for the taxpayers as well as limits and caps. Implementing this framework will formally recognize black tax as a legitimate financial outgoing, offering relief to those who bear this significant, culturally ingrained responsibility, while attempting to safeguard against misuse. If the government were meeting its mandate, there wouldn't be the need for black tax in the first place. Putting a mechanism in place to codify black tax into our tax laws is not rewarding laziness, it's smart policy.
This black tax thing, I've been on it, even on social media, like people come and like, for me, first of all, it's the height of irresponsibility if you are giving birth to children for your children to look after. It is debilitating. It takes away from you. You can't help the poor by being poor yourself. And you can't grow. Just a few days ago, we spoke about it, myself and my husband. Something had happened, like my daughter, we're telling her that, oh, she's old enough now she has the money, she can slaughter a ram. And within like 10 minutes after I just said it to her, Papa, she has sent him money. She said, okay, she doesn't have time to go and do it. She has sent him the money. I'm like, hey, in her own case, you can't. Because you have, and we're saying that if she was the kind of child that had like 5 other siblings that she was looking after, that she was paying their school fees, she can't make those decisions like that. You're held back. It holds you back. I'm a first child. I grew up being told that I was responsible for 6 other people. I didn't give birth to them. I have only 2 children, and it was deliberate. And I know sometimes my parents were like angry. Why are you having only 2 kids? Because none in my family, anybody had decided. Myself and my husband were like, we wanted only 2 kids. And I would say to my mom, you gave birth to children for me. It is, there were times that I felt like dying. I'm like, is it a crime to be a first child? People just see it and like, you're helping, you're giving. Because you've been conditioned to constantly give. You don't spend. I spend a lot of money, and I can tell you I don't spend it on myself. I will buy first class, a business class for someone that has a problem, that needs to be on something, medical, this thing to go. But when it comes to myself, I won't buy it. My husband sometimes is angry with me. It's like, you're spending money on people, but you never spend. Little this thing, I will count that pound. I'm like, okay, I would rather drag the suitcase and go and do this instead of me to just pay this. But meanwhile, you're paying how many $1,000s for someone's school fees? You're paying this medical, this. You're carrying someone to another country for medical, this thing. Because you've been told that you can't, you have to sacrifice. And people see that, oh, it's they are praying for, look, let me tell you. I get to a place that when you're praying, I'm like, please don't pray. In my mind, I'm like, it's because of what I've given. I don't feel it. You know when they call you and they tell you you're such a good this, you're such a good that, I'm like, it's because of this burden, it's a burden. And then people, when some kids say, oh, they don't owe their parents, or the people will be attacking, it comes from a place. They're not saying that you should not give birth to children and expecting that they have to be your, what's this thing called, pension, retirement plan.
Yeah.
You see someone who begs you to help them get the wife out for the first child, right? From the hospital bill. Second child, they did the same thing. Before you turn your head, there's another pregnancy. And when you talk, they will say, "Olorun ló ń tọ́mọ, na God they help train pikin." On top of that, na the God they train pikin, they will still come and ask you for money. And if you don't give, you are the bad person. They don't know if you have bills or whatnot. So I just hope that at some point, family planning will be something that people see as something regular. Yes, go into the world and multiply. It not say you should give birth to the one that you cannot take care of, because that's the one they quote. They forget the one in Proverbs that says, if you cannot take care of your home, you are worse than an infidel. They didn't hear that one. But yes, I'm a stubborn person. If I don't have, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I have to take care of myself first before I think of your own problem, right? Because I did not start the problem.
But
yes,
that's like a safety net in
it
Africa,
is. But I agree with you that it has to now be considered in the tax we pay.
code, yeah.
If I'm earning 2 million naira, for example, and in the whole 2 million naira, I've used 1 million naira or 1.5 to give to family, why am I paying tax on the 1.5 again, right?
This black tax thing, there's something it does for the individual, and there's something it does for the society. I think the problem would be where there is, it's not within reason, where there's a sense of entitlement that's created. Where people, who don't work expect to be taken care of by, someone is writing a business plan and their capital is from your savings. They have no savings. And the plan is they wouldn't work, but they expect that they'll just come and collect money from you. So in that instance, that's problematic. But when we look at the society, the more advanced societies where, not much of this black tax is going on, you also look at lonely elderly people. You look at high rate of suicide. You look at people that are, homeless on the streets. So I feel like there's a balance, that there's something good, even though it's painful, about taking care of your siblings. But then on the other hand, there's a responsibility, like you said, of the parents to say, okay, look, we're not going to have like 10 children, Maybe there, for some reason, we've fallen on hard times, there's difficulty. And so if that's the case, support, help, because as a family, you rise. And when we're building personal wealth, the question is, for what? I know it might be controversial, but if you are wealthy and the people around you are not, especially your family, then what is the point? So I'm thinking that, there's a balance.
Okay, so interesting, very, very interesting advocacy, Yinka. I used to look at my fingers, and I would say, I have 5 fingers, and God did not make them equal. And the only reason I don't bother too much about black taxes is that, as a human being, is that I have come to realize that when God created all of us, He gave us capacities which are bigger or which differ from other people's capacities. And so if He has placed you in a certain environment or a place where you have the capacity, your shoulders are broad enough, to be able to carry and shoulder certain responsibilities, that's my own personal opinion. I shouldn't then complain, because as fingers are not equal, there are people who are weaker, there are people who are stronger, so there are things that I can face, other people cannot face them. And so that's why I don't really bother about black taxes. And black taxes are really not limited to family members.
No, they're not.
You have friends. When these APC people came, that's when the reality of black taxes, increased in Nigeria. You hear a classmate of yours who has never had financial problem, call you. When Buhari came, the number, we are now used to it, to be honest. It was a different thing entirely, where you see your friends, your classmates, people you went to school with, your peers, just call you, I beg, my children. And this is someone who has never yet got a job, who has never called you to say, oh, I need this, I need that, then calling you at that moment. So you cannot even say no. Black taxes are a social safety net, like you rightly said it, and they make a world of difference. And if government says that we are its property, citizens of every country are the property of the government, so the government ought to look after them. That's why if you commit murder, the government will prosecute you. If you commit a crime, the government prosecutes you. But why is it that it's so difficult for government to exercise the right of the property to protect and provide a duty of care on that property when it comes to the welfare of those properties? Put this inside the tax reform bill so that
before they finally sign it.
Before they finally
And
accept
please
it.
don't have more children than you can take care of. We're begging you, please.
Okay. It only makes sense that where citizens are subsidizing welfare, these same citizens ought to be given some incentive.